You spoke about it earlier in our interview about you've shot some people before. In terms of gun violence at this point, what's your take on it in these days, 2016?
Man, just going back to that comment I made, man, we need OGs, we need higher heads again. Man, it's so many of us out here making long-term and permanent decisions based off a temporary situation. And like I said, man, I'm a firm believer that the male ego is one of the most fragile things in the world. My cousin taught me that many years ago, and it was very true. Even in my shooting situation, I realized how much ego and pride played in that. But man, I think, man, the gun violence is simply outrageous. You know, and even speaking on my great president, I don't understand how he is from one of the worst places in America. And, you know, we can drop tanks for the Mike Brown protesters, but we still haven't got tanks to Chicago to figure out. Man, I heard the number yesterday. I can't remember exactly, man. I want to say almost 600 and something people been shot this year in the shot. So, man, the gun violence is simply outrageous. I'm not even one of those dudes who go, man, put the guns down and fight. Nah, you simply ask yourself, like, after the physical aspect of the situation, what's been solved? And I give this question to people all the time. If you kill a clown, if you kill a sucker, what do you truly gain? He had no time to right his wrongs. You took his life. So you've essentially sent him on his way as still a sucker, and you've ruined your life in the mix. Like I said, man, just making long-term decisions based off temporary situations, man, it's very excessive these days. And like I said, man, there are not a lot of older heads who would get into these young guys. I see DVDs and videos daily with babies, you know, not literally babies, but we talking about 12, 13, and these dudes running around with pistols. I don't know where the OG is for that section, or where's the older head for that section. That's like, nah, bro, we have to do this a different way. We're complaining and then partaking in our own genocide in the same breath, and it don't make sense.
Now, you talking about a specific OG in a specific situation or region in that example, but in the overall sense, where did all these OGs go? Where are they?
Man, that's a great question. I think about that all the time. It's like, I hung on to every word my pop said and my uncles. Those were my big dogs, the people I called on when I needed advice. And they're still present in my life to this day, even my great uncle. So like I said, I can't personally speak on everybody's situation. Theirs could be passing, they could be moving. Incarcerated, you know, it's a number of things, man. But I don't know, man. I just really feel like the street side of things, there's no code anymore. There's no guidelines, there's no rules, there's no ethics. Like I've studied dudes like Monster Cody Scott from LA. I've studied man, what's Big Brother name? Over the gangster. Larry Hoover. Like these are the dudes that when they were popping up in Don Diva magazines back in the day, these are the dudes I studied. These guys actually, man, even Big Meech. I don't know him personally, but from the things I read and the things I saw, he wasn't a violent type, man. He was a businessman. He was about getting his bread. He was about, you know, being in power and keeping his people fed. I really feel like, you know, outside of the criminal things allegedly that they've done, these are the kind of guys we missing. These are the kind of guys that, you know, they had that regional voice that could calm everything. Like, listen, I said, you know, it's XYZ and it's gonna be XYZ. So, like I said, man, on a personal aspect, they could be incarcerated, they could be passing on, whatever the case may be. But I definitely think the rules, the ethics, the code, it just doesn't exist. Nobody's following any type of program these days. These young dudes guiding themselves.
I see a lot of people complain and say a lot of these OGs have been incarcerated and taken away. Do you agree with that, or?
Oh, most definitely. You know, like the two I just named. You know, Larry Hoover's still there, Big Meech still there, but I'm not sure what Monster Cody Scott is, but I know he was, but I know he got out. I don't know if I believe I read he went back. I'm unsure, but definitely, man, the dudes who have that, and I'm not saying life is built on street respect, but these guys actually had a monumental voice within the urban communities that can, from what I saw and read, that can calm, you know, and cease certain situations. And Man, like I said, man, I don't know if it's the father aspect, the guidance, but these younger dudes are really raising themselves out here.
Now, those times you were in a position where you shot somebody,
Mm-hmm.
could those have been avoided?
Man, I want to say yeah. I want to say yeah. But at the same time, I'm very passionate about being a father. I'm very passionate about the safety of my children. And these individuals happen to violate me, within the presence of my daughter sitting next to me in my car, actually opened my car door, and attempted to violate me. So, could it have went a different way? It could have. But had they violated me, then I'm not gonna lie, man, with my pride and my ego, I probably would have went home, grabbed something even bigger, and came back and did more damage.
Now, as far as gun violence, is this the worst you've seen it? We're talking 2016.
Yeah, man. In my 27 years of life, I just turned 27 last week. So in my 27 years, yes. As far as my city, no. But from what I've read from the research I do and what I've read and the people, the associates I have in other cities that tell me about their cities, definitely. I got quite a few associates in Gary, Indiana, and I hear straight horror stories about Gary, Indiana, Indianapolis, of course, Chicago. We just talked about. Detroit, man, even Atlanta. Like, I love Atlanta, man. I actually just posted a video. It went viral. I'm sure you probably seen it. The video with the guys at the gas station. Like, did you see it?
Yeah,
Okay,
where they had choppers and were going back and forth with each other.
Man, listen. This is coming from a past shooter. Like, I've nothing to be proud of. And again, I speak from a place of experience, and these things help me derive to be the better person I am. But man, I've robbed quite a few people. I've ran down in broad daylight, with a stock grip AK-47. I've shot 2 people. That video terrified me just watching it because I know what that's really like. And when I shot the 2 people I shot, there was no exchange. I was the shooter, the sole shooter. But to see them exchange and just how he just, he just lifted that AK, man, and just let it go, like, that was terrifying for me to watch. So, no, man, it's really a plague, man, in several different cities, around this nation.
Have you lost anyone to gun violence?
Absolutely not. No, I haven't. Very grateful for that, man, because we did some terrible things. And I do believe in karma, but no, I haven't lost anyone to gun violence.
With gun violence today, what can be done to stop it? Do you have a solution to it, or?
Honestly, man, I don't think it's like a government law enforcement type stoppage. I think these stoppages going to come with when we start to learn, self-value. And I try to address all my brothers and sisters, regardless of their ethnicity, as a king or a queen. I think a lot of us truly don't know where we derive from. A lot of us don't know how great we are. I want to believe that we're born into this world as gods. It is the earthly things that are given to us, the knowledge, the food, things of that nature, that dilute our potential, and dilute just how great we are and how great we can be. But I think, man, I really believe knowledge of self. Man, that's why I'm so big on my unlearn and relearn. I really need my brothers to know where they derive from. I need them to know how great they can be. I need them to know how vital they are, how important they are to mankind. Man, just it's a whole lot of us living for nothing. It's a whole lot of us living, non-purposeful lives. But I think if we're able to, instill those elements back into ourselves, and we'll think twice before killing each other. Bosses don't go outside and roll around in the dirt and fist fight. They don't get their hands dirty. Gods don't, kings don't, things of that nature. So I believe when we truly start to adapt those ideologies, we will treat ourselves and our neighbors a lot different.
I forgot to ask you too, when we were talking about the OGs and OGs getting incarcerated and a lot of people saying that. Do you think that happens on purpose? Do you think that's a systematic thing that's going on? Absolutely,
man. I'm gonna tell you somebody, for me, outside of my pops and my uncles, who's a OG for me, in the music industry. Nipsey Hussle has been a guiding light, man, when it came to business, when it came to entrepreneurship, when it came to independence. Like, if you check the credits on my first book, he's actually, like, in the credits, like, 3 times. Don't know him from a can of paint, but I just knew one day, like, I just gotta thank this dude because he don't know how much his rhetoric, his knowledge, how much it has got, how far it's gotten me. But I say that to say this: I feel like Nip should be way huger than he is. But just going back to the play, to the systemic play, not only for music but for actresses, for anybody, I believe, that's trying to just, bring about that knowledge of self, bring about that empowerment, bring about how awesome and how great we are. I do feel like they're roadblock. I do feel like they run into a ton of adversity. I do feel like a lot of them are incarcerated intentionally because people understand the individual power they have to, like, reshift a whole world and a whole nation. So I definitely think a lot of that stuff is done on purpose. I honestly have no idea, like, why he's not blasted all over MTV and everything else. Like, this dude was doing world tours, years ago, and he really has the ability to talk over a beat and, like, make you rethink your life in a positive light. So I don't understand why people like him, why the Coles of the world, why the Kendricks are not like, these dudes need, like, their own Mount Rushmore. They truly have the lyrical ability to shift the whole culture.
You think that's done on purpose by maybe the record labels or the
Definitely
people behind the scenes, or do you think that the fans and listeners and stuff don't really want to see that as much?
You know what? That's a good question. I think it's both. Man, we're living in an era of instant gratification as far as the consumer. Their attention spans are so small. I learned this in retail. It's like something popping Friday, Saturday is something new. And as far as the machines behind a lot of these people, we're better, like, diluted. We're better believing that we need them. We're better. I mean, I say this all the time. You got 3 people in life. One gonna wait in line, one gonna direct the line, you got one man gonna own the building. We're much more better waiting in line. We serve our purpose to them a lot more better, diluted. Not bossing up, not being owners, not seeking ownership or equity, eating terrible food, things of that nature. So, no, man, I think it's a combination of both. I'm not gonna lie to you, big brother. I struggle daily, and I've wanted to quit on my mentorship many times, wondering why substances don't get the ear it's supposed to. I don't understand. Even in my journey, I'm like, and it's crazy. Like, it took me going viral for people to actually listen to me. This year was my 4th back to school giveaway. My children are homeschooled. They don't need these. I do this for my city, out of my pocket. Like, I don't have sponsors. I don't have investors. Even to my tours, I'm an independent machine. My book, independently written, edited, published, independently went #1 on Amazon. All these things come from an independent place. A lot of this stuff is purely off the love, but it just don't get reciprocated. I give free game and people just look at me like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, yeah, man, I think it's a combination of the machine and the diluted people. They don't really want. One of the biggest things I learned about humans, man, they want consolement, not correction. So that's a real issue right now.